Hello there, everyone. It's Kathy with Paper Phenomenon. So, this is a part B of a weekly recap. I have managed to miss 2 questions in the very same weekly recap where I thought I was recording, but I did not. All the clicking back and forth has screwed me up. Then I recorded it again yesterday and there was no audio. So, this is the third time I'm trying to answer this question. I felt like the universe did not want me to answer this question, but it's such a good question. Here we go. Let's try this again. This question is from Illusionary, and she asks, "Hi, Kathy. I know this question has been asked many times. Sorry for being a PETA. You've been around for a while, huh? When it comes to printing out digital collections, what finish of paper do you use? I have many digital collections and I want to start printing out. However, I want them to look seamless to the printed version from your store. Thanks in advance." Again, from Illusionary. If I ever miss a question in one of the weekly recaps, please remember it is not on purpose. I didn't just decide to skip your question. Somehow, some way, I managed to screw up, okay? Somehow, some way. So, here we go again. Such a good question, Illusionary. I print, when you purchase a paper pack from my shop, I print this on a satin finish. It's a 60-pound satin finish, okay? However, when I print at home, it is a 54-pound matte. All right, I want to show you the difference between the two. All right, if you have a good printer, you can get a beautiful seamless finish. However, texture wise, a little different. Let me show you. All right, friends, so here is the kitchen sink collection. So here's the cover. This is the matte finish. This is the satin finish right here. Look at the difference. Okay, is this seamless? Not so much, but this is as perfect as it's going to get. All right, so if you notice, the one at home is a little bit teeny bit darker. The one printed professionally is the actual color of the artwork. All right, it's the actual color. So would I use these two together? Absolutely. What's the difference between the matte and the satin finish? Well, the satin finish is a cross between matte and glossy. Do you get any gloss in it? Not really. It's just got this sheen to it. It has this luxe feel to the paper where it just completely elevates the look of the project, in my humble opinion, my friends. I love the look and feel of my printed paper. Why do I use a 60-pound? Because layering, my friends. We use an 80-pound cardstock, so I use a lesser thickness of paper so that my pages have a good feel to them where they're not too stiff or too weak. So I love the combination of 80-pound cardstock with a 60-pound paper. If you're going to ask me what my favorite paper and cardstock combination is the 80-pound cardstock with a 54-pound paper. I don't print my collections in a 54-pound paper because I can't find a beautiful satin finish that I love in the 54 pounds. So, which is why I use the 60. And the 60 is also an industry standard. And for those of you who are not necessarily making an album with an 80-pound base cardstock, then the 60-pound is a really nice in-between weight where you can use it as a standalone or a layering piece. So that's why I go with the 60. Now at home, when Jane prints the collections for me, it's a 50-pound matte finish. And it's a fantastic 54-pound. It's a fantastic weight of paper. There is very little difference between the two. I mean, very little. All right. Now the finish is just glorious. So the link to the printer I have at home will be in the description box below. It's a Canon printer, and I always forget the name of it. It has some long name, it's in the description box below. Now, let me show you another quick comparison. This blue one would be nice. This blue is really saturated. Let me see. I should have been more prepared, right? But I'm not, as always. So let's thumb through. I saw this one, so it'd be good to show. Let's see if I've got to have the blue one here. Here we go. So here is the blue paper. And as you can see, there is a slight variation in color. For some reason, the papers at home, and I'm talking about slight. Look at this and look at this. I mean, they are practically identical. All right. There's a slight variation, and I'm not sure if it's the camera, because when I'm looking at it here, I don't see. I see these two the same when I'm looking at them with my naked eye. But on the camera, this one seems a little bit darker, and it could be the lighting also. All right. So, I mean, they're pretty much, in your words, darling, seamless. So to answer your question, I use a satin 60-pound paper for the pads printed professionally, where you order a pad from my shop and I ship it to your home. And then I use 54-pound matte. Look at this one, how gorgeous. By the way, the kitchen sink collection is a... if you love messages from the past, it is in that same, it has that same vibe. Very junky, where you're looking at this and like, what the heck am I going to do with this? But if you look at the Strike a Pose project, you're going to know exactly what to do with this paper collection. Will we have a project for the kitchen sink? Absolutely. I may actually do another version of Strike a Pose in this paper just because I love the project so much. But what I wanted to say to you guys about printing at home. So when you look up my printer, because I know a lot of you are going to click on the link to see what printer I use, it's an investment. It is an investment. Not all printers, my particular printer. Can you get a printer that's less expensive and give you a beautiful print quality? Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you go to my Facebook community page, there's all sorts of conversations over there about printers. Lots of conversation, lots of great recommendations, all sorts of good things, right? So there will be a link to the community page below. All right. So in the description box, you can also check that out. So a printer like mine is an investment piece. The initial cost is an investment piece. Why do I have such an expensive printer? Because I print all the time. I don't print a one-off collection. I have a lot of collections. I print them all the time. And I want something that's going to look pretty close to my hard copy printed collections. All right. So that's why I have it. If you are going to print 1 or 2 paper collections, like, I don't know, 6-month span, let's say, is a printer like this going to be worth the investment? No, not at all. If you're printing a lot of paper collections, yes. Jane did a bit of a case study for us, and she quantified it, where she printed it for about 6 months, and so the totality of her little study, it came out to about, I believe it was $12 to $15 a collection. If you look at my collections, there are many, many, many sheets of paper. Easy 50 and above sheets of paper in any of the Paper Phenomenon collections. So that is a bargain. But that cost will not come to you initially. All right. When you print out a paper collection, it depends on the dominant color in the collection, and you're going to find yourself replacing 1 or 2 colors every time you print until you get into that print flow where everything kind of levels out, and then you're replacing cartridges. It seems like a lot less. All right. But typically every time you print, you will have to replace 1 or 2 cartridges because it depends on the color, the dominant color in the collection. So the kitchen sink collection has so many different colors, but I feel like maybe the blue may go. Blue, because there's a lot of green in here. So, it all depends. So just remember that when you are buying a printer, the initial cost is the big bang, right? And then I would say for the first 2 to 3, the initial cost, which is like the first 2 to 3 prints, big bang, big dollar signs, right? And again, depending on the printer. But if you're not going to print to compare against a printed collection that you purchase from me, then pretty much any of the printers that our fellow crafters recommend on the Facebook page will be great. But if you're going to compare, you're not going to be happy. All right? So you have to think about that. You want to buy a printer where you're not making any comparison. When you're picking paper, you want to start off with the same brand of your printer. That way you can get an idea of what the print quality on your printer is. All right, then you can venture out to other brands and you can compare that way. But you really don't want to compare to this, all right, if you don't have a really high quality printer, because my friends, there's no comparison. All right, that's apples and oranges. So think about that. So you have some information now. Hopefully this helps. Illusionary, thank you so much for the question. It is such a good one and it's asked all the time. And listen, I don't mind answering it. I'll answer it 100 times if I have to. All right, so remember, if you have any questions for me, there is a section in the community page on my YouTube channel. For every week, you can ask a question and I will answer. Or I'll skip it and then I'll answer it in another video. All right, because I don't know, sometimes I don't know how I manage to do these things, but I'm here for the questions and keep them coming. This is Kathy with Paper Phenomenon, and until next time.